Hey everyone, it's Failed Shot back out of the video, and I'm doing this video because you all liked my video on all the elites I think that are worth 6-starring. So I'm going to go over the top 5 best epics in the game. Now these are in no particular order, and before we jump into the list, I wanted to get you all in the comments down below and let me know your guesses for how many of them are actually going to be water type characters out of the 5. So if you like this content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into the first one. As I said, these are in no particular order. We're going to start off with William here. Now, William is just an amazing character. He provides so much to a squad. One of the best things about him is that he's super versatile. He fits in so many different areas of the game, late game, beginning game, mid game, and he just provides so much to the squad. So what is he offering? Well, he's going to give you extra damage on your basic abilities. This pairs so well with characters like Nathalia, who are going to basic on an AoE. He's going to be giving you a joint attack with his basic, so his basic isn't just a, standard random basic attack for most supports. It does something super impactful potentially. And then we have one of the most unique abilities in the game, which is this ability right here, which grants a stack of counterattack to all team members and applies defense up. This unlocks his potential to be put into speed comps, as well as just being an all-around amazing character. The defense up 2 for a specific target is super amazing as well. Do not slack on this. If you put it onto Nathalia, first off, it's going to be another extra rough for Nathalia, but also she's going to be super increased in her tankiness because of the defense up 2. And then we have the ultimate here, which is one of the only abilities that actually can apply defense down on an AoE. One of the other ones is going to be Orion, but it's very hard to come by. It's an 80% chance, but you're still going to be applying it to all enemies if you actually get the chance. And it just absolutely is amazing. Defense down is one of the only ways to increase your damage by significant amounts in Void Tower, some of those end game pieces of content. And this guy is going to fit in your campaign squad. He's going to fit in your Speed Tulpa, Speed Ashe, Speed Queen comps. You can fit in your Speed Witch comps. He's going to fit in campaign, endless trials, void tower, like literally every game mode in the game he can be fit in. Really good character, amazing character. Definitely worth the Ascension upgrade too, because Ascension trait's so good. So we're gonna jump into the second one here, and for the second one we're gonna jump over the free cities and jump into Nathalia. Now, well, probably none of you were surprised by this one. So there's a reason why the developers gave her out as a free character when global launch happens. She's one of the most important characters in the game, in my opinion. And because of how the Void Tower has shifted and how, the game has kind of evolved, I believe she is the most important character to pull at the beginning of the game. I think if you're going to reroll, you should actually reroll for Nathalia over Evra or Valeria. And the reason for this is she is one of the few characters in the game that can unlock your potential of farming Ashe 12, one of the most important gear sets dungeons in the game. So I think she's going to be an amazing character for that. She's going to have you transition into Void Tower much easier because she's going to do so much damage. She's amazing in everywhere in the game, outside of the other dungeons like Tulpa. You could still use her in Queen for your wave clear. You can use her in Witch for your wave clear. You can't really use her in Gemini, but she's going to be endless in trials, campaign, Void Tower, all those game modes, super important. And as I mentioned, she's crucial for Ashe 12. So what makes her so good? Well, she's going to be making her single target hits on her basic and her ultimate into AoE effects by granting herself positive effects if she already has a positive effect from her passive. And then, of course, other players or other characters can put positive effects on her. And then if you have the Ascension effect, you can actually increase your damage by 10% up to 40% if they have 4 positive effects on Nathalia, which is absolutely amazing. You're going to get a ton of extra damage, AoE constantly. Her basics can give her random stats up on herself. And this also becomes an AoE, which is why she pairs so well with William. Her ultimate's just going to do a massive amount of damage and can get reset if she kills an enemy, which is great for campaign, endless trials, things like that. And then her passive, as I mentioned, if she was already buffed, she's going to give herself attack up and immune when she goes on her turn and she's already buffed. This can only be triggered once every 3 rounds, but it does reduce in cooldown as you go through rounds. So she's an absolute amazing character, and honestly a very necessary character in order for you to farm Ashe 12 early on. So let's jump into our third one here. So here's our third character on the list. It's going to be Santis. I'm sure most of you are not surprised by this one either. I mean, honestly, most of these ones on the list are probably not surprising for most of you anyways. but she's going to be your dungeon master. She is going to be in any poison comp that you have. She's going to be one of the best poisoner options available. If you have Gangelo, she could still be used in place of Gangelo for some of the easier clears, like Ash, for example. You may not want to run Gangelo plus Santis until you have the gear, but she is just going to be an absolute amazing character, and she pairs super well with Gangelo. She could be used on her own or with the Luke or something like that as well. She's going to be an amazing character for you for all the dungeons in the game, literally every single dungeon. And then why is she so good? Well, first off, we have this trait which basically says if you're going to go ahead and attack, if they have a poison, there's a chance to apply another poison, or this one's an Ascension 5 trait here. The other ones were Ascension 2 so far. If you get the Ascension, it's a guaranteed chance to apply a second poison, and you'll see here that she's going to be applying a ton of poisons. So we have the basic here, 80% damage, applies a poison. Great, just a poison. If you have the Ascension 5, it's going to be 2 poisons, or sometimes 2 poisons with a 50% chance. Her second ability here, she's going to be duplicating the positive effects when she hits someone onto someone else. Now, when she hits with this ability, she could also apply a poison from her passive. Just keep that in mind. And then the ultimate here, she's going to be applying a poison to all enemies and prolongs all poison effects by 1 turn. This doesn't prolong the poison effect that you apply with the ultimate. It applies all the other poison effects. This could be absolutely amazing with some of the Gajar comps, so you can burst through by extending those poison durations. It's really excellent. You honestly will keep her on basic only for most of the time, because this basic is just so good. And even though she's Ascension 5, I think she has one of, if not one of the best character traits in the game. She is absolutely amazing at Ascension 5 and will speed up your runs drastically and unlock some comps that were otherwise not able to be achieved. So fourth one is going to be Hacron here, and even though the rotation changed for Void Tower, I think Hacron and Santis still earned their place in the top 5, even though they're not really used in Void Tower too much. Now Hacron here he is just an absolute early game crutch. He will absolutely make most of your team pretty much unkillable in the grand scheme of things. He provides so much tankiness for your squad through many means. He, on my ult account, is carrying my campaign squad, allowing my damage dealers to take 1 to 2 hits and still live and get healed by my Connor. He's in my Endless Trial comp for his taunt. He's in my dungeon squads. He's just everywhere in the game. He's an absolute pain in arena. He completely changes the arena meta because of his skills, as you'll see here in a second. He's an absolute monster. So why is he so good? Well, first off, this is one of the most important traits in the entire game, and that is grant a team-wide defense bonus equal to 10% or 20% if you're ascended, equal to his defense rating. Now, from previous testing, unless this has changed, he actually grants the defense that he gets from his own trait onto his defense to the rest of his team. So that means that he's granting 24% of his defense to the rest of the team, which is absolutely crazy from Ascension 2. You should absolutely go for this Ascension 2. It's just such an amazing trait and really changes the game. Then we have the basic, which is 50% damage and a 80% chance to reduce the cooldown on this character's ultimate ability. And we'll just jump to the ultimate here. Deals 150% damage and grants max HP up to all team members. So you can get 15% stacking up to 3 times, so 45% max HP. This used to be 75% max HP with max of 5 stacks. Now it's gone down to max of 3 stacks. So we've lost 30% max HP because this character was so good, and he's still so good. And then we have the second ability here, which is just smacks with 100% damage. Applies taunt, which is super important, and it scales off of his defense. Now this multiplier is his attack plus his defense, which is pretty high. This ability can hit really hard, even though he is a pure defense character. He just absolutely changes your whole squads, your tankiness, and everything about your early game dungeon crawls, and also early game in general. Then we're going to jump onto our fifth one, and this one again, not too surprising, it's going to be Winstrex. So this character is an absolute carry for a lot of earlier game accounts, and even into the later game, she could be absolutely a monster. And she's going to be in your Endless Trials, your campaign squads, your arena squads, your Void Tower squads. She's not really a dungeon unit, but anywhere outside of the dungeons, she can be used to great effect, even in Guild Boss, even though I don't think Guild Boss is too important. But she is an absolute amazing character. And again, if you had it pulled, for example, William, Nathalia or Winstrex Nathalia, I think those are the best options for re-rolling in the game. But you can't really go wrong with Evra or Valyria, in my opinion. But I do think Nathalia plus one of these other amazing epics in regards to Winstrex and William is just that much better. And I forgot to mention that Hacron and Santis are also fusion characters, which is crazy. Some of the best epics in the game are fusions. But let's jump into the Winstrex abilities here. What makes her so good? So first off is this trait. When using an ability, there's a 50% chance to reduce its basic cooldown. May only be triggered twice per battle. And if you have Ascension 5, it's a 100% chance to reduce its basic cooldown time, which is pretty massive. This trait should not be underestimated. I absolutely rely on this trait on my main account in order to clear through some Void Tower stages. I can use her ultimate, it will reduce in cooldown, and then that will allow me to bring back my ultimate when I get to the boss fight, which is super important. So do not underestimate this trait. It is not to be slept on. Then we have the basic 100% damage, apply speed down. This is super important as well. Do not underestimate this speed down. You'll want focus on her for not only this, but for another reason we'll see in just a second. And then we have the special ability here, which is refreshes the cooldown of an ally's ultimate ability. This is absolutely amazing, especially on manual. You can pick and choose which ultimate ability you want to refresh. And in Void Tower, this comes in super massive, especially for characters like Lunar Melisa and Tia, who have amazing CC ultimates. You can prolong the battles by quite a bit of turns with this. And then we have the thing that really makes her, sets her apart from all the other characters in the game, and just makes her an all-round amazing character. And this is ultimate, grants speed up 2 and attack up, so 50 speed and 30% attack for 2 turns. This is absolutely amazing. It'll allow you to get first turn in Arena, first turn in Void Tower, first turn in Campaign, first turn in Endless Trials. It is absolutely amazing. It basically builds up and prevents you from going second even with poor speed stats on the rest of your characters. Absolutely amazing ability here. And again, as I mentioned, it's on a 4-turn cooldown. So when I was talking about this trait here, you really need this trait to get down the ultimate ability to 3-turn cooldown here. Now, if you're using it in Void Tower, you just refresh the battles over and over again. You'll eventually get that. But if you don't have the trait, it will take quite a while to get the right RNG. Now, this trait is an Ascension 5. I recommend, actually, for those of you that are interested in using Winstrex, look at the Ascension 2, because the Ascension 2 can give you plus 15 speed, and you're going to want her to go first because you're going to want her to get this ultimate off very fast and very quick for the rest of your team to go first. So that is pretty important, the Ascension 2. The Ascension 5, again, it's more of a convenience factor in Void Tower specifically, to make sure it's not RNG based, because I've run 10-20 battles in a row where I've not gotten this trait to proc and I've had to reset the battle. So that's more of a convenience trait in general, because it can only proc twice per battle. So that's going to be the list of the 5 best epics in the game. Let me know what your guesses were in the comments down below about how many water characters. It was actually 4 of the 5 characters being water, which is absolutely crazy. We definitely have a water stacked game here, I think. Very interesting. And let me know if you enjoyed the video, because I am glad to do some more like this where I'm diagnosing individual characters. Let me know your suggestions in the comments down below. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you for the next one.